faculty and adjunct should stay the same. And so there shouldn't be a change in that. Now, as I said, if we were to make a decision, let me give you an example. Our spring enrollment was up almost 7% over spring of the prior year. If we were to continue to see that trend occurring, and it's my understanding that applications for fall of next year are way, way up, and of course it's all about applications to acceptances to live bodies. But if we were to see that process continue to go up, so we continue to accept students and we had the same revenue problem that we have, we wouldn't have any choice but to turn to more adjuncts. And so in that case, the answer would be yes, you would see us doing that. That's why I think we've got to deal with this question about can we continue to accept into the future unlimited numbers of new students without any funding support coming with those students. Yeah. Other questions? Over here, yeah.
First, let me thank you for your tireless effort to make sure the reductions are equitable. I know you're a good leader for the school. I hope that you'll use that same process and try to keep reductions or increases in fees equitable to the students as well as our professors. We would hate to see their salaries decrease by any means whatsoever. An interesting story in the Metropolitan, under the discussion of the budget being in limbo, it says that 2 new Auraria campus officers have recently been added. I think first off, if we had concealed carry on campus, we'd be a lot safer and not have to have so many officers on the payroll. I'd like to point out something about the Metropolitan newspaper. They have 2 full-time staff members who are paid together over $80,000 a year. This inspired me to create my own student newspaper, Constitutional Reporter. I'm not paid to make this. It took 10 hours of time, but we have interesting stories and we received no funding from the school. So it's possible to make a newspaper without full-time staff. In there we report on a few different things that reductions we have in mind that might help keep the fees lowered and make it possible to not increase tuition. For example, student activities. This is an area that MSCD bureaucracy, that staff alone receives over $1.2 million a year. That kind of money isn't necessary. Students get together to discuss their ideas and common interests without a student activities group directing them. Additional funding goes to student travel that few of the students get to enjoy, but everyone has to pay for. So I'd suggest.
Do you have a question in here?
I'm wondering if you might sit down with the Constitutional Reporter and hear some of our own suggestions to help keep tuition low.
Well, we're certainly willing to sit down with folks and hear ideas, but let me just say, I disagree with you on a number of elements. One, I actually believe that students are looking for more services, and particularly as we are becoming a more full-time campus. And so I actually think the likelihood of reducing services to students is not as real as students asking for more services. Second, let me just be clear about this. I think our college is one heck of a bargain in terms of tuition and fees. But I think students should understand that we are in the 25th percentile on our tuition and fees compared to the national comparison institutions like us. 25th percentile. Our students pay 1/2 of what students in comparison institutions do at the median of institutions like ours. And one of the reasons, it is not just that the state hasn't funded our own institution, but it's also that students don't contribute in the same level that students in other institutions like ours all across the country do. And we will not solve this problem by students alone or by the state general fund alone. It will take a combination of both. But if neither is prepared to contribute, then the problems that we're talking about, the retention rate issues, the lack of support services, the lack of our ability to create community will continue and be exacerbated in my view. So I don't necessarily agree with you on your position, but I would be glad to sit down and talk with you about this more.
Thank you.
Other questions? Yeah.
President George, first of all, thank you very much for giving us this information. It is greatly needed. Along that line, it's not so much a question as a comment. I wondered if there could be some kind of mechanism put into place where you yourself give us information on a timely basis. I don't know what that would be through this time period, maybe once a month. It's so helpful to hear from you because what's being said. For example, the feasibility of reducing, going to cap enrollment. That gets extended.